Workshop does and what Hackerspaces do. There's also co-working spaces, which is something that's been happening around the country a lot. A bunch of people who do their own work, usually at home, decide they would really rather share resources in a shared office and work with other geeks on their projects together. So, hey, come on in.
Oh, I always wanted to make a grand entrance.
And with the coolest vest ever. So, yeah, so have a seat.
Yes, we wind up sitting on the lap, right?
Only if you, it's consensual only. So, if Bilal will say a word about the Hackerspace Heat Help Forum.
Okay, cool. How much time? 5 minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? All right, well, I'm part of All Hands Active. I like to call myself an instigator or an idea virus. Basically, I came in, whispered in a couple people's ears, just like, hey, we could actually build a space together where it was open, creative, fun, energetic, and we could actually do useful, cool stuff. And I kind of left for a while and came back, and surprisingly enough, idea stuck. And now we have All Hands Active, which is a small space shared with a business, and we make fun stuff. We're in the corner, right at the front gate, building a giant cardboard castle and having rave parties every hour on the hour.
Great, thanks.
Where's your place? We are in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Liberty, we're trying to stay in downtown because I really want to make sure that people can stumble upon us.
Yeah, so I've been kind of trying to say as much as I can about hackerspaces, but I haven't really defined it, and that's because it's not so definable. So, you know, what is a hackerspace? Here's a few things that I put down. This is a picture of Noisebridge at a little class I was teaching about teaching people to solder. That's our first space. We outgrew it in about 3 months, and now we have 5,000 square feet. But here's some of the things that I think are really important about hackerspaces that we probably all share. Community being the number one. Community is something that we have in our DNA. We would not be on the planet if we didn't get together as a species to support one another. We also wouldn't be on the planet if we didn't get together and make tools to survive in a sometimes wonderful, sometimes hostile environment. And just because nowadays we can go out and buy stuff doesn't mean we still don't have this inner need to make things. And how that comes out in each person's life is going to be very different. And that's why hackerspaces are usually very diverse sets of people that make each space its own unique, wonderful, weird, bizarre, and cool space to live and breathe and be geeky with one another. So, yeah, so it can be a bunch of people collaborating, it can be a bunch of individuals just playing in the same space together, but we inspire each other, we learn from one another, we teach and share. It's also a place to hang out. A lot of hackerspaces have full kitchens, like Noisebridge. Like I said earlier, this is part of a growing movement, and we don't know where it's going. But why don't we take like a couple minutes just to share what, if you have anything to add about what a hackerspace is.
Oh, me personally?
Yeah.
Or we're going to go around?
Yeah. So you and anyone who wants to, you don't have to say anything if you don't have anything to add.
So, a hackerspace is, you're exactly right about trying to pinpoint it and identify exactly what a hackerspace is. It'll be as amorphous as a bloom of algae, right? It constantly defines itself on the changing winds and its environment that it grew up in. So you can't really 100% go to a place and be like, wow! Although it happens all the time, people look online, and it's one of the best things about hackerspaces. They love sharing, right? They share all the time, and they put documentation up online of the projects, of the things that they think are awesome, and the tools that they use. But every time you look at these, you have to understand that a lot of people look at these examples and oh dude, NYC resists Noisebridge, I need that in my hometown. That sounds like something that we totally could use here. You can't just drop and place. It's not a McDonald's. Well, although even McDonald's, when you take McDonald's to China, or when you take a McDonald's to Egypt, they serve different food. And it's just a part of the environment that you grew up in. So I guess that's one of the things you have to really find a core group of people that really identify what the direction the space is going to take. And the core principles often are shared, though, in terms of openness, collaboration, and just being
Yeah, let me interject before we go on. So each space really is unique. So it's started by usually one person, maybe two or three, and the people get together and create the culture that they want to be a part of. And that could be really different from Noisebridge to NYC Resistor to any of these places here. But the people who start it create the culture they want to be a part of, and it attracts more. People flock to community. They flock to a place where they can make things with one another. That's
We like
we're here.
we like to describe it as you're one person away from success. So you've got a problem, you've got this dream, you're trying to build your MakerBot or your whatever, and you're not sure exactly how to do it. But you ask the person next to you, or you ask Mitch, or you ask a dream coach, and they'll point you to the next person who, as part of the community, is not only capable of helping you, but actually wants to.
Yeah. I've actually said many times that Hackerspace has absolutely nothing to do with the space. A space, a space is a garage, a space is a workshop, a space is just nothing. A Hackerspace is the community and its members. So why are they all different? It's because we as people are all different. So as those members come together and share their experiences and their abilities, that's what really forms the true identity of each space. We come together to share resources, but you can get rid of every tool that's in a hackerspace and just have its members, and you have a hackerspace because those talents and those experiences are what really make it.
One thing that I'd like to say though is I think space, on the other hand, I think space is critical. I mean, once you open the doors and like, well, this environment, this place, this physical location here is where this kind of stuff is happening and it's okay, people just are drawn toward it.
It's critical, but how many spaces have you guys had at this point? It's not an actual space. It's the space is critical because people need space to work and they need a space to have tools and things like that. But the true identity of it is the community.
Yeah. So you're really both right, of course.
Yeah.
So a hackerspace is a physical space. Community is really sorely lacking in our poor modern world. We try to find it wherever we can, and we have poor substitutes like the internet. So the internet is incredibly important. We can make great use out of it, but to have community only on the internet is way inferior to actually being here. That's why the Maker Faire is here. That's why we're all sitting in this room. That's why we have hackerspaces. Just a offhand kind of body language can send someone into an idea they never knew they were going to have. Or sitting next to some people doing stuff on a sewing machine can send someone who's never even thought of using a sewing machine into a new idea they never thought they might have. The people that are there wanting to share and learn and grow with one another is the main reason. That's what forms community, but having a physical space is where it all happens. And when we found our first space, Noisebridge grew to 15 people that met every week in a cafe to instantly 54 people showing up to our Tuesday meetings. So it's really amazing magic what happens when you just start the process.
And it's really important to people start showing up, and then people are there to learn. And so again, every space is different, and the focus of different places is different. But our space, everyone is there to learn and experiment and do new things. That's why we all come together. It's not that we're all experts and we're trying to show each other what we're all experts at. We're all really, even the people who are really good at one thing are trying to learn different things that they're not really good at. So if you're interested in going to a space and think, well, I don't really know anything, I don't have anything to bring to the table, just being curious, and one of our members built a Power Wheels for the Power Wheel races, which unfortunately released the magic smoke last Sunday night, so we don't have it here. But just sitting around the sessions, he taught himself to weld. It's the crappiest welding I've ever seen, but he can now weld better than I can weld. So it's just about people trying to figure out where we're going to put the parts, or trying things. If that doesn't work, try something else. We're all learning together, and that's where the community is, and that's where you shouldn't be afraid to go to your local hackerspace, or because you're not an uber elite hacker, but it's there to learn, and everyone else is there to learn too, and that's why we have our space in St. Louis, is for everybody to kind of get together and say, what are we going to build next, and kind of muddle our way through it.
I think that's kind of something that I found to be really interesting with our hackerspace, is that aspect of you can come in and not know how to do stuff, and then